Hello, how are you? Today is Thursday, October the 9th. My name is Mike. This channel's Health and Wealth. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode. Today we are ULTY Season 2, Episode 2, coming at you live. Well, not really, pre-recorded. Right now I'm recording it. And I want to go over ULTY with you. I want to go over my position. I want to go over a whole bunch of different things about ULTY here in this episode. You know, how are they doing? What kind of positions do they have out there? How did they do over the last week here? Because, you know, there is a lot of, up and down sentiment when it comes to ULTY. There's good, there's bad, and there's not so good here as well. But I want to kind of go over that with you. My feelings. Should we have feelings? My thoughts on this and what I'm going to continue to do as we go here. Before we jump into it, yesterday, YieldMax made a huge announcement. I did make a video on it yesterday. If you want to take a look at that after, I would definitely recommend it to go over this full media release. But here's part of it, and it has to do with ULTY. That's why I'm bringing it up right now. So we have Group 1 and Group 2 now over at YieldMax. Group 1 is going to be all of the weekly funds. So ULTY being one of those in their YMAG, YMAX, Chippy, LFGY, all of these QDTYs and RDTYs and all of this good stuff, right? So we're talking about ULTY today. So now what's going to happen, actually before what happened was it was announced on Wednesday. The X distribution day was Thursday, and the paydays were generally on Fridays. Now what they're doing is we're going to have the announcement of the distribution announcement, that is, on Tuesdays. X date is on Wednesday. Paydays are on Thursdays for ULTY, which is fantastic because then you can take that money and you can put it into other things, or you can rebuild up that ULTY all you want to do. Do whatever you want with your money, because now you have potentially more options to do that over at YieldMax. Now, before we dive any deeper, here's a word from our sponsor. Moomoo combines powerful AI tools with an attractive new user promotion. Right now, new users can receive up to $1,000 in NVIDIA stock just by depositing funds, plus 8.1% APY on idle cash. What makes Moomoo unique is its AI-powered insights. You'll get daily and weekly briefs on the companies you follow, real-time news updates, and the ability to track net inflows and outflows on a daily, weekly, or a monthly basis. The platform also provides technical sentiment indicators showing whether a stock is leaning bullish or bearish across different time frames, from 1-minute charts to daily views. So with Moomoo, you don't just invest. You gain AI-driven insights to help you make smarter decisions. A perfect way for the retail investor to catch up to the stock market giants of the world. All right, welcome back. So yeah, like I said there, Tuesdays are the announcement days from now on, which means that the X date is on Wednesday, which means if you want to buy more ULTY prior to the X date, get those shares that the distribution is going to pay out, you have to have your money in there before 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday nights. And then the next morning, you should see a price drop of whatever the distribution is, plus any market fluctuations, right? So an example is today. Today is the X distribution date for ULTY for this week. And you can see here, if I go to the 1-day chart, actually might as well go 5-day, you can see the big drop off right there. That happens every single week with ULTY. Now, we all hope, everybody cross your fingers with me, we all hope that over the next 5 days, 5 business days, that the share price of ULTY can go back to at least where it was before, if not more, right? That's what I'm hoping for anyways. But in the meantime, we're still collecting our 9 cents per share this week, last week, and the 5 weeks before that too, maybe even 6 weeks before that, 9 cents per share. So let's go over that position a little bit here. Here's my position right now. I currently have $4,723 invested in ULTY. Now, if we bring our eyes to the right here, that's not including the margin that I have in ULTY. I also have $547, just so we know. I'll talk about it in a little bit. The plan is to pay that off this month. And then what I'll do is take those 100 shares and slide them back over to the tax-free savings account, which is this one over here. And that's going to bring that dollar amount up into the $5,000 mark. That's also going to bring the share count to 920. But I mean, that's going to be 3 weeks from now. So that's going to continue to grow over that time. It's going to be more than 920, right? So right now I have 820 shares. My average cost is $5.83. I started buying, well, you guys saw when I started buying back in July when the price is a lot higher. And so this is one of those things that people get a little bit nervous about, is that the share price continues to come down, even though we're in a bull market. The market, I mean, should we say bull? The market's been very bullish over the last number of months here, really since April 4th and to now it's been quite good. Overall, I mean, we did have some rocky times in August and September, but overall it's been pretty darn good. The current share price of ULTY is $5.46. Now, there was a massive change in my account, and that was last week, like 2 weeks ago. It was buying me 9 shares a week. Now, I have this set to auto drip, which means that it's going to buy these shares automatically for me every single week. Every time I get a distribution from Alti, it buys me shares. And so it bought me 9 for the last several weeks in a row. Well, this week it bought me 11, which is fantastic, which means if I wanted to, I could pump the brakes today. It would continue going up approximately 9 to 11 shares every single week, roughly 44 shares a month, which is fantastic. I'm not pumping the brakes, though. I'm actually still pushing forward here. Current market value, you can see it's come down $254 in current market value compared to where I bought it at. So $4,469. Total distributions received so far has been fantastic. We're talking since July. I didn't put $4,700 into this right away, just a little bit at a time here. And so far, it's paid me $518 in distributions. I'm very happy with that, which means I am up roughly, I don't know, what's that, like 275, 280, something like that, in profit. Okay, so if I were to sell today, I'd be up, a little bit compared to where I started at from before. So I had a goal. I still have a goal right now, 1,400 shares. The reason I want to get the 1,400, in my mind, I'm trying to get 6 pillars of income that are going to pay me $500 a month. So at 1,400 shares divided by, let's call it 10 cents. That's $140 a month, a week, sorry. And then take away my 15% tax on top of that. So you're looking at like 127 a week. Now, if we multiply that by 4, that's going to bring me to around $500, exactly where I wanted to be. That's that 1,400 shares brings me to about $500 every month in income from this fund. At that point, I don't know if I'm going to keep auto drip on. I don't know if I'm going to continue to accumulate more shares, or if I'm going to start taking that money and spending it on something else. That's the thought process. I actually took a little screenshot of my account here. I wanted to share that with you. Now, I know it's kind of small, so I'll try and zoom around here a little bit. But these are 3 positions that I'm building. 2 positions I thought I was going to be done building. It was Misty and Navidi. You can see my share count there. It is 407 and 348 shares on that one right now. And so you can see all my cost basis, everything there. But the thing that I'm kind of concentrating on is this dollar amount right here. So on these 2, I'm just under $10,000 on each. And so I'm contemplating building both of them up to the $10,000 plateau. And then I'm not sure here yet if I want to take this Alti to the same place. I don't know if I want to take Alti to $10,000 or not. This is something that I'm going to discover and uncover in my own brain here over the next couple of months, 3-4 months here. We'll discover maybe there might be a better opportunity. So I'm not committing to taking it to $10,000, because if at $10,000, it's going to be more than the 1,400 shares. But I kind of had that visual pipe dream of having all of my different income ETFs at $10,000 each. I think that would be a nice little shelf for them or plateau for them, and then they can continue to pay me distributions every single. Used to be every single month, now every single week over at YieldMax as an example. So I'm contemplating that. Do you guys do anything like that on your own right now? Yeah, so I mean, it's only an extra $240 on this one, and then an extra $395 on that one, which is very easy to do. And in fact, maybe once I get to the 1,400 shares, I'll go ahead and use margin to buy these two. I'm not positive on that yet, but I thought it would be interesting to kind of look at that, take a look at that together. So that's the position that I'm in right now. So you can see the AUM. AUM is standing for assets under management. This is over at YieldMax. How much of your money is in this fund? And you can see I've been kind of keeping tabs on this one ever since July 31st. That's right when I started buying ULTY, by the way. And I wanted to take a look at all of the different amount of money in there. You can see it rising up here, and then it took a dip, and then it took a massive swing upwards here all the way up to 3.44 billion. So it's just kind of hanging around $3.39 billion as of the making of this recording. Over on the right are the shares outstanding. 611,550,000 shares outstanding, which is pretty amazing. So that's I shouldn't say amazing. That's pretty outstanding. That that's how many they got to pay out to the 9 cents to per share there. So it's quite a bit, that's for sure. And so down below here, I also am keeping track of total distributions in ULTY history is $14.44 now. Since they went weekly on March 12th of this year, they paid out $2.93. Approximately 30% of its share price has been paid back in distribution so far. But that's just an approximate. You know what? I kind of want to take a look at it. I did have ULTY sitting up here. I want to go back to that. So let's go back 6 months here. April. Let's go 1 year. Where's March? March the 12th. Yeah, so I was pretty accurate with that, right? I said approximately 30%. It was $6.54. And like I had mentioned, so far it's paid back $2.93. And I don't know if you guys are the same way as me, 293, but I got to figure that out. $6.40, 18. Okay, there it is, 18% so far. So not quite a full 30% paid back yet, but I mean, that's been just over 6 months, about 8 months or so now, which is pretty interesting, right? Here's the share price, by the way. Since that April 4th date, it has actually gone almost dead even, down 1 cent since then in share price, but it keeps paying out distributions every single week. And here are the distributions. Here are the distributions right here. Let's go from March 12th till now. 10 cents, 9.99, 8, 3/8 in a row there. 9.11 was the biggest one in May. That's when the market really kind of took off. 10, 9, 9, 9, 9, 8. And then we got a bunch of nines here. We had about 5 or 6 10-cent weeks in a row. And then since then, we've had 9 cent every week. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 9-cent weeks in a row here. So it's just steadily paying out distributions. And since that April 4th day, which was the really, that was like the lowest of the low this year so far, to now it is now down 2 cents total in share price. So you've got a massive distribution coming your way if you had a bought on that exact date, which I mean, who did that? But yeah, you're just breaking even. If I could just have a break even share price for the rest of my life, getting 9 to 10 cents every week, I'd be a happy person over here. If the share price continues to go down, though, similar to, since let's go from all-time high up here on this map to now, down $1, down 97 cents since July 18th, then I'm not as happy, right? I don't want to see my share price go down. I want to have YieldMax make winning trades on their ETFs, and I've actually got them sitting right here. And I want them to pay me a distribution. So I want them to win. I want them to make money. I want them to be able to pay us money out of the wins there. But I don't want my share price going down. And I don't know if you guys feel the same way as me, but here's some of the positions. I think I counted 23 different companies that they own within ULTY. I'll zoom in just a little bit here to make that a little easier for you to see. It's kind of interesting. Some of the stuff here is really interesting. AFRM, or a firm holding here, you can see they have 750,000 shares of it. The market value is 56,437,500 dollars. Like, that's crazy, right? That's a lot of money that they have in this Affirm Holdings, and then they have their calls and puts on it as well. So they've got a couple calls, they got one put on it, and so they're hoping for Affirm to do really well over that week period to generate income for us. So, like I said, I counted they have 23 holdings right now. Bullish is sitting there. Bitmine Immersion Technologies. Wow, I've never heard of them. Oh, no, I have heard of them. BM&R. That's the only thing I've heard of. I never heard of the rest of it, right? So this is your Ethereum play by Tommy Lee. And then they got this one here. I've got to kind of highlight it in a different format. They don't actually own the shares of whatever this is, CNC. They're just writing calls and puts on it here. That's all they're doing on that one. It's kind of like a synthetic option. Then you got your Coinbase here. They have 452,500 on Coinbase. They've got a couple calls, couple puts on it. So really what they're doing is they're striving to generate income on their calls, but they're protecting themselves on the downside. So if this Coinbase takes off one way or the other, they're trying to get some upside gain here by owning the shares. They're also protecting the downside just a little bit if it starts to deteriorate over the week and go down. They've got CoreWeave, Figma. There's another one where they don't actually own the shares of Galaxy here. They're just doing a synthetic call on it with a put and a call. Hims and Hers. Now, I noticed on this one when I was going through it, they have a lot of positions on Hims and Hers. This one probably generating, well, I mean, we don't say probably, generating a lot of income, highlighting it over here. And then they got the puts here where they had to pay out to do that. Because they own the company, right? So they're protecting themselves on the downside if it goes down. You got your Hood, you got your Lucid, your MP Materials, your Strategy here. This is a hot topic these days. Strategy is a very hot topic. Holy smokes. So they've got a couple calls and then a couple puts on this one here as well. Open Doors, the hot spicy flavor of the day out there. Premiums are super lucrative. So that's pretty spicy though, right? Because it's so relatively new on the meme type market out there. This one is definitely generating a lot of income. I mean, take a look at that number right there. 23,374. No, 2,337,472. Pretty darn good for open, and yeah, generating a lot of income. Then we got Palantir sitting here. They own a lot of shares of Palantir. They got a couple calls, one put on this one. Oh, it looks good. I like that. So 182, 180, or 182.50, 185, and then the put's 170. So if this thing starts going down, not bad. We got Pony AI, quantum computing, Rigetti. Somebody tried to correct me last week. I asked for, what is it, soft G, and I got 50-50. 50-50 said soft G, 50-50 said hard G. So I'm going with soft G this week. Rigetti, Rocket Lab. Anybody know the words? I don't. So there's Rocket Lab. Yeah, bunch of calls, bunch of puts on that one. Rocket Cause. RKT is the symbol. New scale. And I mean, when we're looking at these, remember, these are not like fantastic companies. These are high premium generating companies. These are very volatile companies that have a lot of up and down, a lot of action to them, right? That's what they're trying to do here. Let's keep going. Soundhound, Symbotic, Upstart Holdings. So these are all the different holdings over at ULTY today. These could change. They're probably going to change by the end of today whenever they close out of some of these calls. And so, watch ETF Inspector to find the updates on that later tonight. But Then they also have all of this cash sitting right here, just in case things go real bad for any of the above funds up here. They have the cash to be able to pay for those bad occasions. So I opened this sheet up on from YieldMax's website. That's one of the reasons why I like YieldMax is due to their transparency. They kind of share everything with us, right? They got the intraday trades downloading here. You can download that usually between 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. It shows all of the trades they've done throughout the day. And then this is the sheet I just opened there. Download all holdings. I just highlighted it for your viewing pleasures. One of the things that a lot of people don't like about ULTY is that they have a higher expense ratio. So 1.30 is the expense ratio. That just is their fee that they charge us to run this fund. Personally, I guess I don't necessarily mind it. I like Clive said yesterday. I've never seen it taken away from my account. It's kind of like in the back end, right? So I know for me to run 23 different call options, I'd have to be pretty loaded to do that. So by paying a small fee of my investment, I'm happy with it. Just as long as they continue to be able to pay me a solid premium and my share price stays flat, life's good over here. I wanted to take a look at Coinbase because that's within it there. Coinbase here today just down 0.63, but I mean over the last week up 2.85, so that should be okay for their calls. Mr. or MSTR or strategy here have been a rocky road over the last 5 days, down 8.26% or 8.66%. That should be good for their calls. Probably still good for their puts as well. On this one over the last month, it's just kind of hanging out minus 2%. Palantir over the last 5 days down 2.37. Should be good for the calls. Decent for the puts there as well. Yeah, should be a winning week for the calls and everything over at YieldMax on ULTY with those three positions that I just decided to pull up here because they interest me the most out of all of them. My passive account here is sharing everything in blue down here is the distributions for ULTY. So you can see month number 1 here was in July. I got $24. Month number 2 in August, 221. Last month, 363. So you can see it's growing. And so far this month, $116 in distribution. So if we multiply that by 4, I should be within the $400 range. This is all post-tax, which is really good. Remember, I'm trying to get to $500 a month here. So we'll see if we can make it happen. You know, this might be 2 payments already in there at 116, so it might just be under 400. Let's find out at the end of the month. That's going to be probably ULTY Season 2, Episode 5 is when we're going to discover how much I made from ULTY this month in October, but I am interested in that. Here's where I get a lot of my numbers from. There's 725 Canadian I've got from ULTY since July, which has been fantastic. 4,700 US, so about 5,300 Canadian into that. So a good return so far. If I stopped investing in ULTY, I'm going to continue to get that money, that income, the distribution, which eventually would pay me back my initial investment, and then we hope that it continues to pay me after that. That's kind of the goal here for me, to continue to get paid forever from these funds. Yeah, that's the goal for sure. So far it's been a good ride. It hasn't been great. It's not like incredible. If we get realistic here, there's so many different woulda, coulda, shoulda options out there in the world. If we had to just taken our money invested in underlying stocks, we'd probably be a little ahead of ourselves right now, or ahead of the game right now. But that's not where I've chosen to invest my money. I've chosen to invest my money in something that's going to pay me back every single month. Now we're getting into weeks, which is even better for me and my ADHD brain over here. I can then pick and choose where I put that money throughout the distributions here. And I've given you a few ideas of what I'm looking at doing. After I'm done filling up that Misty, that Nvidia, and that ULTY, I feel like I want to start really chipping away at HHIS and bringing that fund up to 10,000. Now, the Misty, the Nvidia, and the ULTY, if we do ULTY, are going to be 10,000 US. So I might take that HHIS to the equivalent in Canadian money because it's a Canadian fund. I might take it to around 13,000 Canadian, which is equivalent to about 10,000 US. We'll figure out what the dollar's doing when that happens, but that's probably a year from now when I start thinking about that. But one of the things I do is I constantly think of what's next, right? What can I do today to help tomorrow? Because my ultimate goal is to retire the day job as soon as humanly possible. And these funds, by paying me income, are going to help me get there. It's just going to be a little slower than originally anticipated because, our capital comes down a little bit here. Distributions come down too at the same time. And they're not paying us 80%. Like we're not making 80% a year on these because the capital comes down a little bit. So we're making a lot of it less than 80% like they're advertising on ULTY right now. So, you know, just slow and steady. That's what I'm up to over here. If you enjoyed the content, I hope you hit the subscribe. We finally made it to 10,000 subscribers yesterday. Thank you very much. And thank you again to the new members out there and the existing members that I've had for the last year. I really appreciate the time that you guys give me, and I hope I'm able to provide you entertaining and fun and educational content. This is not advice. Go do your own research. Be smart about how you invest your money. My name is Mike. The channel's name is Health and Wealth. Have a great day. Hello, friends. How's it going? My name is Mike. The channel's name is Health and Wealth. Let me do that again. Oof.